Okay, hopefully you guys can see me. It's a little windy outside. As you can see, we're in my backyard, if you didn't know or couldn't tell. We're out here for two reasons. One, I just wanted to be outside. It's a little cold and a little windy, so not my best day to be outside. But the other reason is the maids are cleaning inside and, you know, disinfecting everything and all that. So, I don't want to be in their way. Yes, I have a maid. One of those privileged white girls. I know, I'm sorry, I suck. But anyway, if you couldn't tell from this title, we are going to be doing my firsts. So I have a whole list here, like a whole page worth of firsts to tell you guys about. I wrote so many down because some of them are going to be like one-word answers. Well, they're supposed to be. Knowing me, they won't be, but they're supposed to be. So, and then some of them will be like actual stories. So let's get started. Okay, first one is my first kiss. I had my first kiss when I was 16 years old, and I had it in a Smith's parking lot with one of the bagger boys. He worked there, and I don't even remember. I think I had the kiss on a Friday, and I think I met him on like Wednesday, if I remember correctly. Like, he had asked me for my phone number, and I remember he was the first boy that ever told me he wanted to kiss me, and I was just like, oh. And it was so funny because he had asked me to come see him after school on Friday, and I told all my friends, and it was all anyone could talk about all day long. Like, I remember walking into the choir room and seeing my best friend Jenna across the room, and we just like ran to each other. We were like, oh my god, it's happening, like I'm gonna get my first kiss. And a lot of my friends came with me, you know, because we had to walk from school to Smith's, and so they like went inside and shopped while I sat outside with him. And yeah, I won't lie, the kiss was so bad. I went home and cried for like 3 days. It was terrible. Okay, next one is my first date. My first date, like my first kiss, was awful with a different guy. But my first date ever, like real date, where the guy comes and like says, hey, I want to take you on a date, and he comes and picks you up, and then you go on a date with him, you know, where it's like dinner and activity and he takes you home. We only made it as far as dinner. Luckily, I was able to talk my way out of the activity afterwards. But it was horrible. He was so mean to the wait staff, and like, you can tell a lot about a person by the way that he treats the help, I guess you could say. And he was so rude, so arrogant, so entitled, and not even just to them but to me. And it sucked because I work 2 jobs typically when we're not on quarantine, and so this guy really put in work to go on a date with me. He waited like a solid 2-3 weeks, I think it was, until I finally had a day off that was the same as his. So I was super bummed that he turned out to be so bad in person, because obviously I met him online. Okay, next. First show I binged ever would probably be like Hannah Montana or Gilmore Girls, maybe. Probably like, binge just means that you watch it all at once, right? So I remember I used to watch Hannah Montana just like hours on end. But if we're talking about like during quarantine, it was 911. First app I open when I wake up on my phone is Instagram. My first cell phone, I don't think it had like some special name. It wasn't like a Sidekick or a flip phone. Well, it was a flip phone, but it wasn't a Razr, I mean. It was just a regular flip phone. Yeah, it didn't have like a special name. My first celebrity crush, oh, this is kind of embarrassing. My first celebrity crush was actually Mel Gibson. I don't even know if people really know who he is anymore, but yeah, I have a thing for older guys. My current celebrity crush is Chris Angel, so not that they like look completely alike, but they both look like men, if that makes sense. They don't have like a little boy look to them. So yeah, Mel Gibson was my first. I saw him in What Women Want, and I would make my mom play that movie for me all the time. My first tattoo! My first tattoo I got when I was 22 or 23. I think I got it for my 23rd birthday, honestly. Like maybe a week-ish before, 10 days before or something. It's right there. And I got it because my favorite singer, Christina Grimmie, died. She was shot and killed at her meet and greet by a fan. And this was like the last album artwork that she put out before she died, so this was the cover of it. First movie to make me cry. I want to say like Fox and the Hound. That one was pretty sad when like the old lady goes and leaves Todd in the woods and is like, you have to stay here now, you know, because he's like a grown-up fox. Oh, it's terrible. And he's just sitting there like, what? Oh, it was sad. First book to make me cry, probably My Sister's Keeper. I was so angry with the ending of that book. So I remember finishing it and throwing it across the living room and calling my mom while she was at work and being like, you won't believe what they did. And it's very different from the movie ending. So if you've seen the movie, that is not the correct ending. First best friend was little Jenna Bonina. She grew up next door to my grandpa, so I spent a lot of time there as a kid. So that was how we became best friends. We met when we were 3. We went to like the same preschool for a little while and then didn't go to the same school again until high school. But because she was my grandpa's neighbor, I saw her all the time. And now she does my nails, and she's honestly, everyone jokes that I have a lot of best friends. That's why I put that on there. But she's like my chillest best friend. Like, she doesn't get jealous of my other friends. We can go a long time without seeing each other, and she's just super chill. I love Jenna Bonina, and we both love Harry Potter and Tarzan and Gilmore Girls, and she makes the best cookies ever. So she's a great best friend to have. First pet, that was like mine. Like, I know when I was born we had dogs and tortoises and stuff. But the first one that was actually mine was a cat named Sparkle. And he was all white. And I wanted to name him Toothpaste, and they wouldn't let me. First heartbreak. Ooh. It sounds kind of dumb to say that it was in high school, but it was my junior year of high school. And I don't really remember what act happened that like made it break my heart. I remember who did it. I just don't remember what he did, because there were so many times that he hurt me that I don't remember what he did to actually break my heart. But what I just remember thinking to myself, like, this pain in my chest, this ache, this feeling is like things that I have read about in books and seen in movies. Like, I finally get it. I know what they're talking about when they talk about it. Because, like, I had read, like, Twilight, and I remember when Edward left, and, you know, how Stephanie Meyer described it, how, you know, Bella was so broken, and I finally understood what that meant. And that's what I remember thinking, sitting on my bed, being like, I get it. This is terrible. This sucks. My first love, I guess, would technically be that same guy, but I don't like saying, no, I probably loved him. As much as you can when you're like 15, 16, 17, you know, like, as capable you are as loving someone as much as you think you can, that he was probably my first love. First broken bone, my first and only. I fractured my elbow once, but that doesn't count, right? Because that's just a fracture. So we could say that one when I was like 10, but my first actual broken bone where I had to like put a cast on was, I broke my toe. And not like if this was my foot, not like the toe part, like the long bone in my foot, like, snapped in half. My fifth metatarsal, I think, is in your feet, because you think metacarpal is in your hands. I don't know, I failed science. That's anatomy, actually. First time out of the country. I went to Australia when I was 13 for 3 weeks, and it was way too long, and I was way too young to appreciate where I was and how cool it was. So I would still like to go back someday, but I went to Australia. First YouTuber I subscribed to. I can't really say for sure, but if I had to guess, it was probably Christina Grimmie. If I had to guess. First car. My first car was terrible. But I loved that car. It was like an SUV type of car, and it was super high up off the ground, and I loved the way that it drove, but it was such a lemon. There were so many things wrong with it, and no matter how much money I put into it, no matter how many things I fixed, something was always wrong with it. It was a terrible car, but it was a Dodge Nitro. First fear? Honestly, I'd say probably not being with my mom. I was unusually attached to her as a child. Like, I wouldn't even sleep over places as a kid. I just had this fear of her not being there when I went to sleep. I don't know why. But, so I want to say that because I was pretty young, I feel like. But the first fear that I can actually, like, remember recognizing as a fear would be being put into the trunk of a car and having the car being pushed into a body of water. So I guess drowning or not being able to breathe is a big fear of mine, but I don't know if it was my first. First job, my first job was a hostess at a Mexican restaurant called Chevy's, and I met some of the greatest people ever there, and a lot of my friends are there, and I was there until the day I turned 21. My 21st birthday was my last day there. Yeah. It was a fun 2.5 years. I got it right out of high school. I graduated in June and got that job in July. Oh, my first piercing was not anything exciting. It was just the normal lobe piercings, but I didn't get them until I was 20 years old. I actually got them on my 20th birthday because when I was a kid I had really weird rules growing up, and so I was not allowed to pierce anything. First swear word. I actually didn't start swearing until I was 22, and I remember it was because I got in a fight with my best friend Erica, and I wanted to tell people what she was, and so I guess it was technically the B word. First concert was Britney Spears, back when she did the MGM HBO special in 2000, 2002, somewhere around there. First ticket I ever got was for running a yellow light. So I was coming off of the freeway and the light was turning yellow, and I decided to go, and the cop said I should have stopped. And he gave me a ticket for it. Okay, this is the last one. First YouTube video I ever put up, I think, was the 2015 slang term challenge with my mom. I think that was my first. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you liked learning a little bit about me. Honestly, I love talking about me because I'm a narcissist. No, I'm kidding. I'm kind of not kidding. But I don't like to think of myself as a narcissist. But there's no easier subject to talk about than me because it's the thing that I know the most about. So, I want to do more question videos in the future, so I hope you enjoyed this one. Comment down if you thought any of my firsts were funny or if you had any similar firsts. Let me know. ATRU